something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
This was a fork in the road of human civilization.
Well, top of a fine Saturday morning to you folks. I hope you are doing very, very well. And, well, a little unusual to be poking around on a Saturday morning for me. We're catching up this morning with Michael Engerman from Ainslie Bullion. Unfortunately, Michael's just running a little bit late at the moment. He's taking a young bloke off to footy, I think, so they're stuck in traffic. So Michael will be joining us as soon as he gets to the appropriate footy ground for a bit of a chat about what's going on with gold and silver. And I've got to say, there has been a lot of movement in the pricing of it over the last, couple of weeks. Currently sitting just over $4,500 per ounce for gold, $4,507.93. And silver dropped down fractionally from the high I saw last night. It was $50.95, I think it was last night. Right now trading at $50.44. And platinum is at $1,606.77 per ounce. Now, the market has been a little bit volatile of late. Silver goes up, silver goes down. Gold, however, while it does have some downward trend occasionally, it is only very briefly. And the trend is certainly that way, pointing upwards at a fairly steep angle for gold. So looking forward to find out more about the analysis that Ainslie Bullion put in. And if you aren't already signed up to it, the Ainslie Bullion newsletter is such a wealth of information. And they're a bit like a news service. So if something is happening in the market, they put something out, it'll turn up in your inbox. You'll learn about it very, very quickly to get to take advantage and do the best for your own wealth building. So we'll talk more about some of the other strategies that Ainslie have been able to put in recently, including the Ainslie Saver, which many of you have gone and joined. And if you haven't gone and joined it yet, couldn't recommend it to you highly enough. All right, who's in the chat? G'day, Brett. Nice to have you in. God love you, Sandy. How are you, darling? You must have done your donkey duties for the morning, and you and Baz must be sitting back having a cuppa by about now. G'day, Alan. Hope you are well. Hi, Jenny. Peter, the man from Pinaroo. Been watching Tucson Gem Show Opal segments drop this morning. Oh, okay. Australian Opal at the Tucson Gem Show, I would have thought would go pretty well. Opal here in Australia, we've become a lot more aware of it because of the TV shows, of course. Outback Opal Hunters, I think, and Aussie Gold Hunters and those sorts of shows. I have friends in Coober Pedy, and Pete, I know, has friends in Coober Pedy and other places around Australia. I used to have friends in Lightning Ridge. Part of the reason that they're no longer in Lightning Ridge is it wasn't because there was a huge shortage of opal, although it's hard work finding it. The shortage seems to be in buyers wanting to buy it, and when they do buy it, wanting to give you a reasonable price for it. Obviously, there is a big market at the other end once things are all cut and polished and placed inside settings and all that sort of stuff. But from what I've been told, those pulling it out of the ground are being stiffed pretty hard at the moment. You could pull out the most amazing bit of opal that anybody has ever seen. You'll be offered a dirt rock bottom price for it, if you are offered a price at all, if you can find a buyer who's willing to even look at it. So I don't know how true that is, but for those people out hunting opal, I hope it improves. And for those of you who are out gold mining at the moment, God love you. Keep going. That's all I can say. It's only washing rocks, but you'll get to your goal eventually. I haven't been able to speak with my mate with the gold mine up in the Palmer River. He did have it up for sale I'm not sure whether or not they've sold it or they decided to go back into it, and they built themselves a magnificent new sluice. So I think the plan was to go back into it and see how things are going up there. Of course, at the moment, thoughts are with people in far north Queensland. There is currently a huge storm happening up there. There's railroads are flooded, roads are flooded and cut off. In fact, I think the section between Townsville and Cairns, the railway line is cut in at least two places. Imagine if the railway line is cut, the highway is probably cut as well. Aeroplanes are still getting into the airports in Townsville, Cairns, but they are expecting a metre of rain in that area today or over sort of 24-hour period. Now, just down here at the moment, we've got a little bit of light rain on the Gold Coast, but a little bit overcast. But for the most part, we expect that to all disappear and the sun to come out in the near future. That's not the case in far north Queensland, where it is going to be very, very, very wet indeed. We'll catch up on a little bit of news from America, and obviously the big news at the moment is the accident at Ronald Reagan International Airport, the military helicopter hitting an American Airlines regional jet as it was on approach to landing at the Reagan Airport. Now, a lot of information has been coming out regarding the military personnel on board, including what they were tasked with doing that night. It was a military training flight for a continuity of government training or a government mission. So we actually have the flight track available to us to have a look at, and it's pretty much what looks to be a reasonably standard nighttime flying operation. What does cast an interesting and potentially darker pall over this whole event is some further information that has come to light about an aircraft, another American Airlines aircraft, flight number 4514, that was coming into land at the same airport the day before when a rogue helicopter flew across its path as well. Now, it did an emergency go-round, avoided the helicopter, everything was good. But interesting that almost exactly the same thing happened the day before. Was that a rehearsal? Or was that an attempt and the pilots just had better situational awareness in the American Airlines flight? Not quite sure. The pilot of the military helicopter allegedly was a woman, but was a trans woman, allegedly. I have actually seen some rebuttal of that idea. In fact, another trans pilot in the military came out and said that it wasn't this particular girl who was behind the controls. However, there was apparently a woman doing the training. There's nothing wrong with that. Men and women both fly these things. They both have to train. It just seems to be a very, very strange set of circumstances for this accident to have occurred. Unbelievably weird. The more we delve into it, the more information we get from it, the more incredulous I become at the stories mainstream media are telling us. So try and use your discernment with what mainstream media and their eyewitnesses are telling you. There are a number of new perspectives of the accident happening. They certainly show the helicopter in much greater detail. These cameras are closer to the actual accident site, if you like, and it is quite graphic. You should be aware that if you are watching that, you are watching people die, both at the time the helicopter and the plane make contact, and then, of course, both those vehicles wind up in the Potomac River. You might be forgiven for thinking, as I was, that the Potomac River was well, it had some depth to it. I didn't expect it to be 200 feet deep, but I did expect it to be better than waist deep. But certainly in the area where these aircraft went in, it wasn't terribly deep water. And photos are showing the airframes are still, almost half out of the water in one case with the helicopter. So the impact wouldn't have been gentle. So, and apparently a lot of the people they've found so far were found strapped in their seats in the jet. So a very sad time. But boy, all of the information available from that military helicopter, and now the fact that there appears to have been an identical style incident the day beforehand with another American Airlines regional business jet. Well, things that make you go, I haven't heard what MonkeyWorks has to say about it at the moment. A bit like you, I'm focused a little elsewhere, but it'll be interesting. MonkeyWorks will wind up doing a full analysis on it. I am absolutely sure, Pete. Yep, 100% right. Harm, hope you are well. And Ebbs is doing well too. Sandy, we all want to know who was on that plane outside of the Russian figure skaters, the former world champion figure skaters. And I think they were of a senior age. They weren't newly crowned or whatever. And then there was a good number of the American figure skating team, and some of whom had just won world championships or won places in the world championships. So it was a very feel-good flight for everybody who was coming back from Kansas. They'd all done very well. But we're talking there of maybe half a dozen people, or certainly less than 10. The other 50 civilians on the flight, let's call them, those that weren't crew, very keen to know who else was on that flight. And it may be nothing, but yeah, the big question is who could be on that flight. Very intriguing. There's been another helicopter crash, this time in Honduras. Not sure how many people have been killed in that one, but they're predicting no survivors where it's gone down. I'm just having a bit of a look at some of the international news feeds. Belgian airspace has reopened after closure that forced their Prime Minister's jet to return to Slovakia. Little weird things going on. Seems to be a lot of awareness today about pedophiles for whatever reason coming out. More, I think, fake attempts to get people to be convinced that Elon Musk is releasing Diddy's black books, if you like. Don't click on any of those links would be my advice at the moment. A friend of mine clicked on one of those links. Elon Musk exposes Diddy's, black book, or words to that effect. And it was malware that tried to install itself on his computer very quickly. So just be aware. A lot of stories, particularly in Fakebook, to do with Elon Musk, are actually filching or scam, or in some cases malware, hidden malware. So don't know. Musk obviously is the man of the moment, so to speak. People want to click on it and see and hear what he has to say, and they're using it to great advantage. So just be careful with those types of stories at the moment. Sandy, you heard some cancer research doctors were on the plane. Well, what were they studying? Ivermectin or other things? It's possible that they were. I've not heard mention of anybody else outside of the US ice skating team. So I don't know that. Well, actually, I do find that a bit strange, that even this far down the track from the event, that we haven't actually even got a list of passengers' names, let alone somebody standing there reading them out. I'll dig a little deeper today and see what I can find there. David, mate of yours, clicked on a fake site and got AIDS. Well, if you listen to Fauci and Bill Gates, there's a cure for AIDS coming. Of course, you'll have to take an mRNA vaccine to make that happen, sadly. Flight Tracker shows 2 near misses, does it, Stu? I haven't been through the day's trackings, but doesn't surprise me. What I am surprised to learn is that the flight profile of the event that happened the day before the crash seems in just about every way to be exactly the same as the flight profiles of the crash event. That indicates to me really precision flying, or either a practice attempt or a missed failed attempt the day before. Why would there be a failed attempt the day before? Was it? Yes, I think it was on a plane that was landing, not taking off. So that would be significant if you were trying to kill someone on the plane. Missed them on the way out, got them back in on the way in. So I don't know. A lot of hypotheses there and not too many facts or any evidence to back it all up. But anyway, that'll keep the brain ticking over for a Saturday. Oh, Anita. A dodgy picture of a Joey. Well, that happens, doesn't it? Speaking of Joeys, was at the wildlife place the other day. There are 7 Joeys in care at the moment, all Eastern Greys at this particular place. And there was another Eastern Grey who was inside lying on a bed, like one of those raised dog beds. He'd been involved in a car accident, and he was very sore through his back and hips and all that kind of thing. Wasn't walking a great deal or moving a great deal, but found that dog bed really comfortable. And he was doing all right. People were feeding him grapes. He must have thought he was a Roman kangaroo. At any rate, caring for those sorts of animals is part of what we're going to be doing a bit of around here. And looking forward to bringing more of that to you when it materializes. We've got to do a bit of work around the property here before we can make it safe for those sorts of animals to come and be rehabbed. We have a number of facilities that are planned, including veterinary and other, that will be on site. So, there's a lot of really interesting plans ahead for this particular area. And of course, for wildlife in general, we're really looking forward to being able to bring those ahead. All right, looks like the man himself has managed to get to the footy game, because cricket must be over now. It's that time of the year. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's bring him in from Ainslie Bullion, Michael Engerman. Lovely to have you, and good morning, mate. Sorry for the traffic this morning.
No, that's all right, Carl. I apologise for being late, but that's what you get when the first weekend of sport all begins again, right? So
yeah, exactly. So back at school, and has it been a hectic week or two getting the kids ready?
I'll tell you what, they give them a lot more holidays these days than what they ever used to give us, right? I don't remember taking as much time off as what they get now. So yeah, it's been one big break, but I think the wife and I are very, very happy to see the kids go back to school. That's for sure.
Well, that's great. You get out of the frying pan and get yourself to work, and it's right into the fire. This last week, yeah, this last week and a half. Well, this whole month, it's been just an amazing market to watch. And you guys obviously do analysis on it daily. The prices when you went home last night, gold was over $4,500 and silver over $50. What's going on in the market, Michael?
Yeah, plenty going on at the moment. I mean, look, I think it all stems. I think the movements that you've seen this week are really all centric to the US, and what the rhetoric that's been coming out of there. You know, obviously Trump and some of the promises that he's been making around tariffs, and also the data that came out. You know, we had some data that came out during the week that, you know, inflation obviously is not as bad. So, you know, that's great for gold and silver, because obviously then the talk is all around, you know, interest rates dropping, which is great for cost of living. And, you know, that's not asset prices. That's all about just the, you know, inflation on our cost of living each week, each day, which is going to be positive. But that means that gold and silver go up, because it means that they become more attractive for the return that they give as an investment. So that's the main reason we saw movement this week.
So we've seen that upward movement this week, and there'll be some people watching this right now who say, look, you know, it's all a pipe dream. I'll never own gold and silver. I was one of those people 2 years ago. You know, it was something other people did, and I only ever got to hear about it. Through Ainslie Bullion, it's become amazingly easily for people like myself to access the bullion market. And even though I'm only in the silver side of it at the moment, I know many people have chosen gold. But you now have this magnificent feature with Ainslie Bullion, where I can buy a little bit of gold or a little bit of silver every couple of weeks.
Yeah, spot on. So, you know, it's not the end product that we would like to have, you know, eventually, but, you know, first jump at doing something like this absolutely enables people to jump in and, you know, set up, I suppose, smaller purchases for themselves. We call it the saver, and obviously it's designed for, you know, instead of having obviously little bits of money going into the bank accounts, which is, you know, the Dolomites and so forth, for those that are old enough to remember those accounts that we used to have as kids. Well, these days you can set up similar sort of things now with this, but putting it into gold and silver instead. So as much as, you know, as little as $50 at whenever you feel like doing it, we'll then just tip in and keep buying you gold and silver, and steadily just have a pool of that sometime in the future to do something with.
Yeah, and it grows. So if it's $50 a week or $50 a fortnight that you're able to put in, the way things are going at the moment, that $50 that gets you a 15th of a bee's wiener will be 2 15ths of a bee's wiener at the end of the month, the way that the price is going up. So this is a much better way of saving or growing your wealth than putting your money, as paper or plastic as it is, into a banking system, I would have thought, to lay down misere.
Yeah, spot on. It is. And I mean, there's a lot of things to think about. You know, a lot of the viewers will be just thinking about it from we purchase a bit of silver or we purchase a bit of gold, but what you're doing is also taking it out of the bank, which is actually devaluing your money by leaving it in fiat, because fiat is going backwards at a rate of knots every year, regardless of what the inflation figures that the central governments tell you it is. We all know that still cost of living is a lot higher than it is. So sitting in the bank doesn't do you anything, where if it's sitting in gold and silver, at least it's increasing in value over time and giving you that greater purchasing power sometime in the future.
There's a question from the chat. I'm being asked by Pete from Pinaroo. Do you guys have any involvement in something called the Berlin Money Fair?
That's on, I think it's next week, or this week. I think it's next week in Berlin. We don't attend ourselves. We have attended in the past, and what we've found is it is very much a coin fair, and one that we just don't get a lot of value out of. And obviously you can attend it, and there's a lot of people that go over to attend it. But at the end of the day, we've decided many years ago that the value for us isn't attending something like that. It's spending time doing other things. So, but yes, it is on, and it's a very big event every year.
So that's sort of like a collector's event, then, is it? So for specialist coins.
Not just that, Carl, but there's you don't see anything new that you can't get your hands on. Well, we haven't in the past, that you can't get your hands on now. So there's a lot of, I think, networking whenever you go to these events. There's obviously networking that occurs. You meet people, some suppliers of ours from over in, the States and in Europe you'd meet up with, that sort of thing. But that's just, it's up to each individual whether they would go and want to be a part of it. So.
Yep, no, I fully appreciate it. No, I've got to say,
and it's a long way to go. And I'll tell you, have you been to Berlin at this time of the year before?
Not at this time of the year, no.
Well, it's the very opposite of what we've got going on in Australia. I've done Berlin at this time of the year a few times, and I'll tell you what, it is absolutely freezing. It can get down to like -10, -20 degrees, tops of 1 or 2. So, yeah, I'm looking around here now, and I've got shorts on. I probably would prefer this.
Yeah, I can wholeheartedly agree. No, I've only ever done Germany in summer. So, winter, you can keep that, absolutely.
Yep, spot on.
Mate, I've been speaking with some people recently who are invested in gold and silver. They have a bit of a penchant for the collector's side of things, and they've got Trump notes and Trump coins and that sort of thing. Is that any value? Is there real value in those sorts of coins versus the bullion that you and I are discussing?
Tough question, because I think it all depends on the buyer. So you could have that product, and if you go to sell that product at some stage in the future, you're guaranteed to get the silver or the gold content of that particular product, no problems. Everyone will pay you for that particular amount. It's whether you get the right buyer that will then purchase the premium over and above, because they actually deem it as a collectible product over just the amount of silver or gold that's in it. So I'd say all bullion dealers wouldn't pay a premium for the product, but you might get a individual or a collector of some sort that would pay that premium. Then you might be beneficial, in owning it.
Yeah, right.
But typically, Carl, these things, as we've said before on your show, these things are only good if you've got a low mintage. So there's not many of those particular products made. There's a lot of people that want it. It's just the general supply and demand rules. It's, how much supply is out there, and then how much demand is there for it. So if there's not much supply and you have a lot of demand, it's going to cause the price to go up, regardless of what the content is.
This time of the year too, it's always it's always an interesting time of the year in the business I used to work in, which was around the casinos and the limos, because it's Chinese New Year. And I've just brought up the webpage, and you've got Lunar Dragon minted bars up there. There is obviously quite an offering for the Lunar New Year, or the Chinese New Year. What's your advice to people for this sort of stuff?
Yeah, well, those are what we just discussed. They are collectibles. Some of those lunar coins, not all of them, because again, it comes down to your mintage. Some of those lunar coins have low mintage. So the ones that have low mintage, and the ones that are the years in particular that have a significant following, and we would say that the Dragon, the Tiger, they're two of the leading ones. You'll get a premium over and above. I mean, it's all about, though, finding the buyer for that particular product. Those that hold the sets, those that collect those coins and keep collecting them for many, many years, 12 years in a row, then another 12 years. If they have, lots of them and they have a good set, they actually can get a premium. One thing's advertising it on eBay, and one thing's advertising it on these platforms for sale. But the next thing is actually getting the sale. And we all know that something might be advertised for X price, but it's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it, right?
Yep, 100%.
But yeah, it's the time of the year. It's the lunars come out every year. Every year there's a new one. There's a significant amount of people worldwide that, obviously celebrate the Chinese New Year and then buy these as gifts every year. So.
But I think they are some of the most spectacular coins and bars. The dragons, like you say, those dragons are just beautiful. I don't have one yet, but I've been looking at them on your website now for some time. The detail, just so beautiful. And I'm looking forward to finding a silver one sometime in the not too distant future. But
Perth do a really good job, Carl. Like they, credit to them with their, and there's lots of mints around the world that do the lunar and do their own specific one. But I'll tell you, Perth is right up there with the best in the world with their design, the way they do it. Obviously, we visited last year and saw how much effort they put in. And the bigger the coin, I see there's a comment about the 5 ounce. Well, yeah, correct. I mean, 1 ounce, or even the fractionals is one thing, and then you move up to 1 and 2 and 5 and 10, and even the kilo silver coin. You really see the detail come out the bigger the coin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was lucky enough at one point to have a 10 ounce kookaburra, and the detail in that absolutely stunning. Really beautiful. And one day, fingers crossed, we'll get a kilo kookaburra or something like that. But
very common coin.
Yeah, beautiful coin too. Really spectacular. How's the crypto world going now? Because Ainslie Crypto is also one of the products that you offer, and the crypto wallet, a cold wallet, which I particularly like the idea of, meaning it's not joined up to the internet 24/7 and very hard to get scammed. How's that going at the moment?
Yeah, look, great. I mean, we had some issues with, and some of your viewers might know, but we had some issues with our payment providers, and I mean, I think all of your viewers would know and understand the issues that we're having with banks, full stop, at the moment. Everyone is having. Well, we obviously, we're not immune to that. So, but we'd be happy to say now that we're back in and trading, being able to offer all of those crypto products just like we have done in the past. Bank transfers in and collecting the crypto. So, the particular product that you've just spoke about with regards to the cold wallet, yeah, absolutely, it's the most secure. There is nothing more secure than a cold wallet because it is completely offline. I had a brain fart, but the code that you get, the secret code and the public code, they haven't been anywhere else. So as long as they get stored effectively in a safe somewhere that no one is ever going to be able to see them, that will stay on the blockchain and will stay yours and secure for a very long time. So, and there's a lot going on in that space. If back to what we spoke about before regarding just the last week in precious metals. I mean, the same with crypto at the moment. Like Trump is pro crypto. He's appointed some people in his advisory team that are pro crypto. And there's a lot of things happening in that space that is going to lead to, I think, 4 years of some pretty significant movements in this space. So those that own the assets are going to do, I think, well out of it. But it'll be like any other asset. It'll all be contingent on that global liquidity, which we talk about in our research a lot, and what the central banks do with pumping money out to keep this can continuing to get kicked down the road.
Well, the thing I like to keep watching, mate, is the gold-silver ratio, and right now it appears to be dropping. I think it's around 87, 88 ounces of silver to an ounce of gold.
And that's a good point too, Carl, because it was 91 before we had that lift on Thursday or thereabouts, Wednesday, Thursday. So, there's a classic example of where you could have got in at, the $47, $48 Aussie. That was the spot price of silver back earlier in the week, and now it's over 50. I think it's 50.50 or something. So, that's a huge movement in silver price just in the last few days.
Yeah. And it has been up, it's been down, it's been up. It hasn't broken through 50 for a couple of, since before Christmas now, I think, but back through 50 now. And we saw it as high as 52, I think, back in October, was it? So could be another rise here at the moment.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pundits out there that are saying that this is the bottom. We probably won't see silver head back down below that $47, $48 mark. It's the new sort of 28, 30 that we were sitting at for many, many years, if not decades. So
yeah, right.
But who knows? I mean, that's we all can try and predict, but it's all based on what goes on around us. But if this is the new bottom and it just continues to go up from here, there'll be a lot of happy silver owners out there.
I met up with a fella, about 2 weeks ago now. He had been at the Magic Millions horse racing carnival and had managed to pick a winner, and he'd won about $7,000. And he said to me over a scotch, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And I said, buy silver and gold. Oh, why would I do that? So I gave him all the reasons why he should do that. There are punters every weekend that, pick up a little to a lot of money. I suggested to him that he just take $1,000 of it and invest it in silver or gold. And he eventually did do that. And he's rung me this week and he put some money into silver and he's watching it go up, watching it go up, watching it go up. So now he's decided that every win that he has, he's going to take 20% of those winnings and put them into an Ainslie Saver account.
Yeah, well, that's incredibly smart, and you know what? The first part of that story resonates so much with us because your viewers are not this category, right? The people that are listening to you are definitely not in this group. But I'm standing here at a field with I don't know, some hundreds of parents. Like there'd be hundreds of parents around the outside. And I would say that less than 2% of those invest in this space, invest in the precious metals or the crypto space. So he is not alone when he says to you, why would I do that? What on earth, why would I do that? Because not a lot of people know about it. So,
well, let's hope we can bring that knowledge to a few more people through the Voice of Freedom and obviously through ainslieBullion.com.au. I'll let you go back so you can keep an eye on the boy, mate. It's his debut game for the year. You want to be out there cheering. So
it's the hottest month of the year to be playing this sport as well. So, but anyway, it's good. It's back. It's another year down. 25. Who would have thought that 24 is now behind us? So.
I know, and 25 shows so much hope, even if it does appear to be shining out of Donald Trump at the moment. But I'm seeing some interesting things in the Australian market, or Australian media about Albanese. The media have certainly turned on him. He'll certainly be for the chop. I can't wait to see whether or not the Labor Party will stick by their own rules and not stick a knife in the back of a sitting Prime Minister. So there, a whole heap of interesting things coming in the next few months.
Yeah, and we've got to, I personally believe it's because of the change in the US and because of that change that we've got over there. You're looking not just in Australia, but Australia's, we're all passionate about our country because we live here and we want to see good things from it. But every country in the world is in a very similar boat. There's a lot of, look at, the evil man himself got, casted out in Canada. And there's a lot of other things happening around the world because of this, I suppose, rumbling that's occurring in the US. So, 25 and beyond, I think it's going to be an interesting 4 years for sure.
And as I pointed out in the show last night, mate, I don't expect you caught up with it yet. Now, when Trump stands at a press conference and they have the White House sign behind him, and on all official letterheads and documentation I've seen since Trump has taken over, there is no longer a DC after Washington.
Well, there you go. No, I didn't notice that at all. But he's definitely got the majority in all houses, and he's been promising a lot of things. So if that's one of many that we're going to see changes, it's going to be one hell of a ride.
Couldn't agree more. Have a great weekend, Michael. Thank you for taking some time out on a Saturday morning to have a chat with us and keeping us up to date with what's happening in the precious metals market.
Always a pleasure, Carl, and thanks to your listeners, and thanks for all the support.
No worries at all, mate. Easy. Have a good weekend. AinslieBullion.com.au. You'll be able to go online, check out what they have to offer. If you're not in gold and silver yet, get into it. You've heard yourself. There's a couple of great stories of people who've gone in now and made a few bucks very, very quickly. There are those people who do this for a living and flip between gold and silver trading and do make quite a nice living out of it. There are those people who just go into it because they like shiny coins and they like collectibles. And there are those who just simply stack the bullion. And that's not a bad way to be, as the bullion, right now at least, appears to be growing. All right, folks, I'll let you get back into your Saturday morning. I will be back again a little later on this afternoon, or we might do it at the normal time of 6:30 tonight, although I'm meant to be having a dinner party. So we'll see how we go. I've got to reach out to Donna and Peter from the Corruption Whistleblower. They're traveling this morning, And hopefully they'll be in a position mid-afternoon where we'll be able to sit down and have a conversation about what's going on with the Corruption Whistleblower. Of course, edition number 3 is out now, and that is the cover that I put up there at the start of the show. Enjoy your day, folks. Enjoy your weekend. And if you are in far north Queensland, please put the raincoat on, maybe the rubber boots, take an umbrella. Will an umbrella be good enough? You probably want a sheet of corrugated iron over the top of you to protect you from the rain coming down up there at the moment. But our thoughts are with you, and we will have more on that. Obviously, Skipper Pete, I hope things are going well for him. I will try and give him a call. But at the moment, I dare say he's trying to keep his boat from floating away in his backyard. He's around the Ingham area there. So, yeah, they're expecting a metre of rain up there. It's a wet Saturday in far north Queensland. And probably in the southeast corner as well, if I'm honest. Have yourself a good day. If you're on the roads, watch out for the dickheads. They are worse drivers in the wet.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!